peace, that we will love and respect one another. This is what we believe in our Indian way. And all of the things that are here on earth, Mother Earth, that all the faithful be blessed also. Plant life, animal life, that they'll multiply and that we'll continue to have food to eat on our tables. And this is what we pray for all the time. So, and then I think that's, almost all the Indian time, they pray the same way. People first, all plant life, animal life. And that we will love and respect one another. This is what our main prayers are all about and answers. It is all we say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. In my mother tongue, I would say, when you literally translate those words, it means the gratitude of a kitten is in its heart. I don't have the words to express my gratitude. Thank you. And we are giving you beautiful flowers because we know that behind every good man is a good woman. Please take these flowers to your wives and thank them for us, for lending you to us for the ceremony. Thank you. And I know that your wives are here, so thank you. So, a lot of people have asked me how...
Let them announce what they're doing. Yuka.
Good evening, beautiful women and those women that accompanied you. My name is Ashley Saracino. I am from the Pueblo of Laguna. I met her to Gertrude a couple months ago, and she asked if we would come in do the butterfly dance. Sorry, I'm a little out of breath. But I was honored to have her ask us to dance. And initially, the reason why I decided that this dance would be appropriate is because, like my grandfather said, butterflies lead our hunters to game, to antelope, to deer. And I thought, what more appropriate dance could we do for the Women's Economic Forum, given that the butterfly is feminine, given that we're all here, and it's transformational, and so I thought that it would be great to dance butterfly for you ladies, given that women are nurturers, women do a lot, not just in terms of family, but also just overall just being beautiful human beings and leading their family to different resources. So I thought, what better way to celebrate you all than by doing the butterfly dance. And so what we did, I gave gifts to I call my babas, which means grandfather in our language, Paris. And so that's oftentimes what we do is we thank one another by giving gifts. And so that's what I did. And so on my non-native side, I guess, I am a small business owner, native entrepreneur. I own a Native Ascension Community Development. So when I'm not dancing or participating culturally, I'm out hustling and trying to get contracts. So I just really want to thank you all for having us here tonight. It was an honor to dance for you, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the Women's Economic Forum.
So a lot of you have been asking me why I came to Albuquerque. And I'm about to call on the man who's responsible for all of this. Gary Sanchez, you're in the room somewhere. I think you need to explain. Come on forward, Gary. Dr. Gary Sanchez, thank you.
Okay, wow, I didn't know I was talking this soon. So Gertrude called me Gertrude called me and said, hey, could you come speak to the group that I've got formed? And she said, you've got about an hour to speak. And I said, okay, that's great. And then she calls me back and says, well, you got about 15 minutes. And that's a whole different thing. And so in 15 minutes, I got time to talk about one thing. I'm going to talk about one thing here in just a minute. But before we do that, I want to address how I know Gertrude. I have a company called the Y Institute. And we were having a Y coach training. We were training coaches on this process of helping other people discover their why. This was up in Denver. So there was about 75 people there, and Gertrude was one of them. And believe it or not, Gertrude actually kind of blended in, which was weird, because she doesn't blend in anywhere. And so there's Gertrude sitting over, trying to blend in, I think, and at the first break, somebody came up to me and said, have you seen her TED Talk? How many of you have seen Gertrude's TED Talk? I said the same thing, I haven't. And so at the break, I went and watched Gertrude's TED Talk. You need to watch it if you haven't seen it, because you will cry. And so I came back to the event, my eyes are all red, and I said, we've got to watch this. So I had our whole group watch Gertrude's TED Talk. And of course, there were no dry eyes in the group. And everybody said, we've got to get behind Gertrude. We've got to help her push her agenda forward. Make a bigger difference in the world. Challenge the status quo. Get outside the box. And so we all decided to do that. And so I asked Gertrude, why are you here? Why are you in Denver right now learning how to help other people discover their why after all the things you've done? She's created how many businesses? 5 businesses that bring money back to Africa. And I said, why are you here? And you know what she said to me? I don't know. She came the day before from New Zealand, bought a plane ticket that week, got on a plane and said, something told me I should be here, so here I am. That's not a cheap plane ticket. That's a $5,000 plane ticket to just show up to something she didn't even know what it was. So we've been friends ever since. I brought her here to Albuquerque to speak at an event that we were having, and she fell in love with Albuquerque, and she's still here making a difference. Isn't that awesome? So my company is called the Y Institute, and we believe that when you know your why, your what has more impact. When you know your why, your what has more impact. Your what you do, has more focus. What you do has more meaning when you know your why. And so what we do is help people discover their why, so what they do has more impact. All right? Let me talk about that for a minute. Let's say you were somebody who we said, so what do you do? And you say, well, I sell a new skincare line. I have a beautiful skincare line. It's all organic skincare. And I sell an organic skincare line. In fact, this is my favorite product. What would you think? What would be the first thing that came to mind when you heard that? You'd probably say, well, I know 5 other people that do that. It's probably a multi-level marketing thing, and I could probably get that at Walgreens or Walmart for half the price. Right? Isn't that kind of what you think, if we're being honest? But, if that same person walked up to you and said, look, I believe that when women have beautiful skin, it gives them confidence. And they're free to give more, and do more, and contribute more in their life. So I help women have a better life by first helping them have great skin. And I do that with this organic skincare line that I've found to be the best on the market. Does that feel different? Right? We're having a different conversation now. So all of you here are going to be here for another couple of days. And you're going to have a chance to interact with each other. And so what most people do is say, so what do you do? And you tell them what you do. And they say, that's great, let me talk to the next person. And they say, what do you do? And you talk to the next person. So if you want to have a bigger impact, I'm going to challenge you all to start with your why. Start with your why. Let me give you an example. Gertrude. I know what Gertrude's why is. Gertrude's why is to challenge the status quo, to think outside the box, to imagine possibilities. There are no limits with Gertrude. Do you see that in her?
Yes.
Right? So what she does is just a reflection of what she believes, which is there are no limits. There's nothing we can't do. She's unstoppable because of what she believes, right? Each of you is the same way. I also know Yuka's. Yuka's this handsome gentleman standing next to her. Yuka's why is to simplify and make things simple and understandable. So what do you guys think WSI stands for? We simplify the internet. He makes things simple and easy to understand. That's his why. That's what he brings everywhere he goes. Standing in the back, right there in the white dress, that's Dr. Tusi Horner. Her why is to create relationships based upon trust. She believes. I guess you want me to talk about her. That battery just went out. There's another one? Nope. She believes that if you can trust yourself to put the right things into your body, then you can reach your potential. She is a doctor of pharmacy. Doesn't mean she wants you to take more drugs. She wants you to take less drugs. But she wants you to trust what you put in yourself so that your body can be at its peak potential so you can do more, and give more, and live more by trusting yourself. Okay? So why does this work? Why does knowing your why work for you? Does anybody know? You do, because you're a why coach as well. So Dorothy back there is a why coach as well. But let me explain it to you. I want to talk to you for a minute about brain biology. I know that's like a big subject for a Sunday afternoon. But let me talk to you about how the brain works. I want to talk to you about two parts of the brain. The outer part of the brain, which is called the neocortex, and the inner part of the brain, which is called the limbic brain. Now, the neocortex can understand lots of data, facts, figures, features. So when you sit down with somebody and you tell them all the facts, figures, and features of your business or your product or your service, they're going to look at you and say, what? You say, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but let me think about it. Anybody ever heard, let me think about it? Like all the time? Yeah, let me think about it, because there's 10 people in the room that do exactly what you do. Right? So when you connect to the neocortex, people understand you rationally, but they don't make a decision, because that part of the brain doesn't make decisions. You guys understanding that? The neocortex does not make decisions. But when you talk to the limbic brain is the inner part of the brain. Okay? When you talk to the limbic brain, that's the feeling brain. That's the part of the brain that's responsible for feelings like trust and loyalty. When you connect to the limbic brain, that's when people make a decision to move in your direction. Buy your product, join your cause, buy your service. So you've got to be able to connect to the limbic brain. Think you buy something because it feels right. Right? You buy a new car because it feels right, and then you justify it with the neocortex. So you've got to be able to connect to the limbic brain. Think about that. The way you do that is by starting with your why. Starting with what you believe, not what you have. So if all of you want to make a bigger impact this week, if all of you want to connect to people at a deeper level, don't just tell them what you do. Tell them why you do what you do. Because what you do is going to be proof of what you believe. Does it make any sense? So I want to challenge all of you. Start focusing on your why. Why you're doing this. Let me give you an example. I speak at a lot of events around the country, and often I say, who in here knows their why? Right? And half the people raise their hands, say, I know your why. I know my why. So what's your why? And they'll say, well, my why is that I have 2 young kids at home, and I have to provide for them, so I created a job where I could be at home and work and see my kids and help raise my kids. Or they may say, you know, when I was a kid, I saw a lot of kids that didn't have enough food. And so I want to provide food for them so that they don't go hungry. And while those things are really important, that's not the why I'm talking about. Those are reasons why you're doing what you're doing. But the real question I want you to focus on is, why should I choose you? Why should I pick you out of this crowd of people that are doing what you do? Why should I pick you? I'm a dentist. There's 600 dentists out there. Why should you pick me? No matter what you do, there are many, many people that do the same thing. Probably not the same way. Probably a little bit different. But they say the same thing. So why should I pick you? That's what I want you to focus on. The reason they'll pick you is when you start with your why. When you start with your why, they'll join your cause. If they believe what you believe, they will join your cause. They will buy your product. They will buy your service when you start with your why. Gertrude is all about getting women outside of their box that they've created for themselves so they can imagine possibilities and do incredible things when we all get together. Do you see that in her? And you all must believe that because that's why you're here. Otherwise you wouldn't have shown up. What's your why? What do you believe? What are you about? Why should I join your cause? Why should I buy your product? That's what you've got to focus on. And the way you do that is when you start with your why. So, I've got a gift for you all. My company, like I said, is called the Why Institute. I developed an app that you can go online and discover your why. It won't tell you about your kids, but it will tell you about your why. Okay, so all you've got to do is go online. I have cards with me that you can all take it for free. So take the why out before the next 2 days, and then use that when you talk with people. Talk about why you do what you do. Don't talk about what you do. Does that make sense to everybody? Any questions at all? I have a handful of cards right here that I'm going to pass out to everybody. And on the back is the why absolute. You take it all for free. Okay? So that you all can make a bigger difference. Because I know that's why you're here. You're not here to make a smaller difference. You're not here to not get people to work with you. You're not here to blend in with everybody else. You're here to make a bigger difference. So I've got cards for all of you where you can take it for free and use it in the next couple of days. Thank you all.
Stacy represents UNM.
So since we don't have a microphone, I'm Dr. Jessica Sanchez, and welcome. Our lovely Gertrude is amazing and fabulous. So can we have one more round of applause for her?
Thanks, Joe.
And then we also have a lovely round of applause for all of our volunteers, the wonderful women and men who have been here putting this together, countless hours, countless work. We have a wonderful staff here at the Canadian Country Club, but at where we're going to be having everything at Mesa del Sol, we have the event place located, donated to us through 2 different locations, which we'll talk about more tomorrow. But we have amazing men and women who have been working endlessly to put it together. So let's give them a round of applause. And along that route, I would like to introduce Stacy Stucco as well from the university. If he can come forward, please, and welcome, and thank you so much for everything you've been doing for us. Gertrude's voice is going, so I am stepping in proudly for her. So thank you, Stacy. Mr. Stucco.
What did you want me to say?
Welcome them on behalf of the university.
Oh, okay. All the calls I get are always, is she in? And I go, yeah, she's here. I'll go get her. Because the name Stacy. But anyway, I did want to welcome you. I've been talking to Richard the last few weeks and trying to help him promoting this event. I sent out an email to 4,000 people in the city, and as you know, and we really pushing this out. So hopefully that encourages more people to come. I am representing UNM and UNM Anderson School of Management. I have a few students coming the next couple of days, so if you see any of them, ask them on Dr. Sanchez says we have, what's their why? Because we talked about that in class. He's been instrumental in helping me with that too. So, anyways, delighted you're all here. Let's hear it again for Gertrude. Okay. Thank you so much.
So, Mr. Sacco, thank you for everything you've been doing for us. Us women who are fabulous and amazing, and all the fabulous and amazing men who are here in support of us and here to share much with us. I even know one of our sponsors, Mr. Jim Bird, with John Edwards. If it wouldn't be us all working cohesively and collaboratively, this would not be occurring impossible. But I do want to thank one of our main sponsors, actually our main sponsor, besides the facilities with UNM and the other gentleman who's loading the facilities. Our main sponsor is WSI, which we all just learned what that stands for, correct? But Yuka is our main sponsor here, and actually he's the reason I'm here tonight. If I went to meet him within a quick 5-minute talk, he's like, you need to meet my friend Getchut, and you need to be part of this committee. And by that reason, I already went to India, and I'm here, and I will be going to Woman Forum in Grenada. And if it wouldn't have been for this lovely man who has such a beautiful heart, is it working now? Oh, great. Can you hear me? I think you can hear me. It's Saturn now. Yes. If it wouldn't have been for this beautiful, lovely man who has such a beautiful heart and soul, who is sponsoring this event as our main sponsor, I would not be here today. Many other people who you have assisted in connecting to be here locally and internationally would not be here today. So, Mr. Yuka, please.
I was waiting for my card to be given me from the service outside on a cool winter day, and Jessica was standing next to me waiting for her car, and she commented on my hat that Gertrude had bought me from Grenada. So that's how we started our friendship. Gary Sanchez is responsible with his wife for me to meet Gertrude. I was invited to that event in December year ago to listen to her presentation. And I looked at her on the stage and decided that I'm going to go and introduce myself. And I did, and nothing happened. 2 months later, she was on an airport somewhere in between USA and New Zealand, going to New Zealand, and suddenly connected through Facebook messaging, saying that, hey, Yuka, I have several website clients, and you need to help me to get my internet marketing business going. So when she came back from New Zealand, we decided to meet at the Flying Star, had a very nice discussion for a couple of hours, and as you remember, my wife is simplified. So we left the Flying Star, I drove home, and because I'm a simple guy, I just called her and said, let's go movies tonight. And we've been going movies since. WSI, I bought this franchise, it's the world's largest internet marketing company. Its name is We Simplify Internet. How funny is that? My wine is simplified, and my company name is We Simplify Internet. And the reason why I wanted to say a few words is that we have a different purpose. We don't just make websites to make money. This week, last week, I hired 3 young ladies, 2 of them Navajos. They live and work for me from their homes. Dana made a website already, and while working for me from from her home in a so small village past Gallo that Google Maps doesn't have a name for that place. She was able to take her grandma to the hospital and take care of the family and put 18 hours last week to build websites. How she knows how to build a website? There is a non-profit called Cultivating Coders. This non-profit finds funding first from different sources, federal government and grants, and then arrange food camps in rural areas of New Mexico and Four Corners area. So people who don't have a job can apply and get accepted on a food camp training program. Those training programs take 8 to 10 weeks. Students have to be active, show up every day for 8 hours to learn. And those who graduate can keep their computers and all the software that they need to become web developers. So my mission is now to find enough clients in Albuquerque and elsewhere so that we can channel work for these people and give them an opportunity for living wages in their own villages where they don't have really any kind of an opportunity otherwise. So last week I hired 3 ladies, and this coming week I'm going to interview 2 more. They happen to be young men. So our overall impossible, making impossible possible is the theme of this conference. And you already learned how to get through things outside of the box. So we will change the web development industry so that companies who now send all those jobs to India will start sending those jobs here in Albuquerque. And my colleagues, WS colleagues around USA, are just waiting for our green line telling that we have built the infrastructure and skills to the level that we can start accepting work coming to New Mexico from other states. And that motivates us much more than just making money or whatever other motivations there are. We want to really help those people in those rural areas and make their lives and their families' lives better. Thank you.
So, for those of you who speak Spanish, bienvenidos. Como nosotros dicen aquí, bienvenidos. Esta es mi tierra. I am one of the old families who have come over 400 years ago from Spain, settled here, and not left this place. So, welcome to our home, and we are so welcoming of people like you with your heart and spirit who are doing things for our community in order so that we can stay home. Culture is very important to us. We say it doesn't matter what ethnic group you are, all of us in New Mexico eat beans and chili. So thank you very much for you to allow us to eat beans and chili in our own home state and country so that therefore we will be able to be at home. Family is very important to us. We come home to take care of family before they pass. So what you're doing, like I said, this man has a beautiful heart and soul. So one more round of applause for him. So I'm the impromptu MC for the evening, if you didn't notice. As Getch's voice was going, so I could scream earlier. And it's my pleasure to welcome you to New Mexico. I'm very grateful for my 5 minutes with Yuka, where he says, you need to be my friend Getchun and you need to be part of WEF, Women Economic Forum, which is a global community that had been started in India with Dr. Arvind. And she was unable to make it here this evening with us as the founder, and we have some fellow friends here from India as well, who were supposed to be at the conference, but they couldn't because they were visiting our lovely country here at US. But what I really got involved with is we have a beautiful woman who we've been speaking about who has a lovely heart and soul. And her vision is not just to go with the sisterhood and brotherhood of what we've been speaking about with our hearts and souls to make this world a better place with positive vibrations and just speak about topics. She really wanted to come, since she is here in Albuquerque and everywhere she goes in life, to actually make a change and to try to make a difference. So once again, I'd like to introduce our host, Ms. Getchu Mache, so that she can describe what her vision was.
So before you guys break bread, in my culture, we believe that until you've sat down with someone and shared a meal, you're not really friends yet. So I'm going to keep this really short. I stand here bare feet for 3 reasons. One, to remind myself where I'm from. I'm from Zimbabwe. I'm from Africa. And every time I get on stage, I marvel at how lucky I am to be able to do this. I do it not just for myself, but for every African woman in a village somewhere whose voice will never be heard. So for the women who are at this conference, while you're here for the next 2 days, remember where you're from. I'm standing here thinking of my sister. I have one sister. I haven't been well this past 2 weeks. And every day at 2 o'clock in the morning when I wake up with a headache, she stalks me on Facebook and she sees that I'm online and she'll ask, Gertrude, what's wrong? How's your blood pressure? Tell me, don't worry, just tell me what's going on. I was born with one amazing sister, Patricia, I love you. I know you're probably watching this on Facebook. Think of your grandmothers. We stand on the shoulders of giants. Every woman who has come before you is with you right here in New Mexico as you present. Remember that and honor that. Don't worry about perfection in your presentations. This is a platform that gives women's voices a space. So you notice that we allowed anybody who said, yes, I want to speak, to come. We did that for a reason. Because a lot of organizations that have speakers, they will screen, they will limit. This is your choice. Grab it, use it, remember to speak from the heart so that you connect with the audience that's in that room. Now, you know that tomorrow's sessions are broken up, and every hour there are speakers in 6 different rooms. If you find that there is one person who's turned up for your session, please do me a favor and honor that one person for showing up. And deliver your speech as if there are 100 people in that room. They say that one person knows at least 250 other people. You have no idea where they can take your message or where they can take your voice. So we're going to stop all the presentations and talks now. Please help yourselves to some food, mix and mingle. And as Gary said, when you connect tomorrow, please be present. If I hadn't paid attention to Gary Sanchez and kept in touch with him, I would not be here. I'm in New Mexico making my first feature film because he told me to stop and give a speech in this very room 18 months ago. And magic happened from the day that I landed in New Mexico. So please trust that the fact that you responded and came, there is something for you here in New Mexico. Either it's something that you will take away, it's something that you will share, but this is truly a magical, magical place. So thank you again for coming and enjoy the food. Thank you.
So as Richard said, welcome, thank you for being here. Enjoy the food, but don't just enjoy the food, enjoy each other. Enjoy the connections you're here to make because of all the wonderful people, and you yourself chose to be here tonight. So as you enjoy that, leave this in a beautiful, positive manner, so that therefore tomorrow when we start off at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, the opening ceremonies, we have registration prior, just as a friendly reminder to everyone. And then we will be at 8:30 starting opening ceremonies until 10, which we have dignitaries and other people coming. So please join us, bring your beautiful, lovely faces, all your positive attitudes with your new networking and new friends that you're building upon tonight, and continue that throughout the week. But not just here, continue that on as you go home. Thank you.
Thank you.